We got Nana Pop at the fishing hole here at the pond.
If I fish for bass, I forgot how.
Get her to eat. I already made her plate and she done run over here to go fish.
You'd rather fish than eat.
I'm gonna have to feed her while she's casting.
What you got, Nan? Brim? I believe it is.
It's a fish.
Big old brim.
Yeah. I don't know what kind, but it's different.
Yep. Good job. Pretty brim.
That's what she used to tell me, because she wouldn't never catch it. And I say, roll it in. She said, I don't want no kitty fish.
What's that one?
That's a green. I think real redbreast or whatever you call it. See the bush? Pink. It's a good size.
Well, we're out here fishing. We didn't catch much fish because it is, what's today's date, Toby?
October 22nd.
October 22nd. And it has been a little chilly, but Nan caught 2 fish, obviously. We all were fishing, but she was the only one who caught them. So, do you guys remember the first time that you went fishing together?
I remember going fishing, but I never caught any because I really wasn't into fishing when we were young. But he frog gigged a lot, and I just had to do that, and that was a disaster. We went in a boat, just me and him, out in the lake. We was gonna gig some frogs. Well, he was gonna show me how. He was driving the boat, and he had like a fork thing, you know, you stick them with. And then he told me, there's one, get it. So I tried. I went in. I just been to the beauty shop and had my hair all up on top of my head, fixed. And
you know,
I fell in head first. I said, take me home.
And you know who got blamed for all that?
That's right.
It was my fault.
It was. It was his fault.
And I was just trying to teach her how to survive.
I didn't want to survive on stabbing a frog.
Frog legs.
Yeah.
But I remember years ago, Lord God, I don't know how many, we used to go over on the canals, the Lake of Popka, and the speckled perch were bedding in there. And me and her and Daddy, that was about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, just us three.
Yeah, us three would go and we would catch them speckled perch till it was pitiful.
Buckets full of big ones.
Would you eat them?
But she never.
Yeah, I didn't really eat fish back then. About the only fish I ever eat is a bass. I just like the taste of bass better. So, no, I didn't eat them, but boy, his dad loved them speckled perch, and so did he and the rest of the family. They all eat them.
But she never really got into bass fishing probably till 10 years ago.
That's true. That's true.
And I would go all the time, but most of the time I was young, I'd go by myself. And somehow or another, she got started going with me, and she found out catching them largemouth was a lot more fun than catching them speckled perch. And thing of it was, that's the only thing she wanted to fish for. She didn't want to fish for nothing but bass.
That's all I like to catch.
And you know, I like to catch them, but I like to catch other fish, not her.
When I go out there, I go for the bass.
But she has,
And I catch some big ones.
she has caught some good ones. I would say probably in the last 7, 8 years, you couldn't haul them on that Kubota. Anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds
Wow.
that she's caught. I mean, we have caught them till we've got tired of catching them. But she'd throw another shiner out.
It's true.
She
I
liked to.
loved it.
She
I'd
liked.
rather fish than to eat.
She never was too much on artificial baits. She loved wild shiners, and she wanted them shiners like that. I'd say, Lou, them things are bigger than the fish you're fishing for. She'd say, let me tell you something.
This is
If you're
true.
going to catch a good fish, you got to have a good bait.
True.
Bigger the bait, the bigger the fish. And
Yep.
I found that is true.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I have got pictures of the biggest fish. I don't know any other woman that is friends with us that done all of that. I fished, and I was the only woman fishing. The rest of them were mostly men.
Yeah.
I tell you, when she was able, I would put her up against anybody, man or woman, fishing. I would.
What's the biggest bass you ever caught, man?
Like 12.
12 pounds?
Yeah.
Do you have pictures of those?
Yeah.
I'll have to put them. I'll put them up here on this corner
Yeah.
so we can see it.
And I don't know how many, but you know,
I don't have them in order or nothing, but some's on the laptop. I think the 12-pounder that I caught it out of Girls Camp
Mm-hmm.
Lake over there,
Yeah.
and that's on the laptop.
Yeah.
And then I was out fishing, and our friends was in the boat. I was on the dock at our house. Our friends, Hambone and Trudy, were in their boat next to the dock. And then we had Brent and Julie, and they were just up there with Charlie doing whatever. Well, I caught a humongous fish. And I'm thinking, how do I get this in? I'm out here on the dock by myself, and usually somebody's always with me. So I'm thinking, I'm out here by myself, and I don't know if I'll get him in. And then I'd rather not even catch him at all is to not get him in. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I went over to the edge of the dock. I reeled him up as tight as I could. I knew he was a big one. And then I went over to the corner and then down the edge of towards the house on the dock
Yeah.
and took him as far as I could take him. And Lord was with me because I just reached down and picked him up and laid him on the dock. And he weighed 10 pounds.
Wow.
He was huge. And I was so embarrassed. It's crazy, but I was embarrassed that my friends were out there and I didn't want them to see me catch one because they wouldn't catch it.
Yeah.
So I tried to hide it.
What'd you catch it on?
Oh God, I don't know. Probably a shiner, because that's what I always like to fish with. They were $1 a piece when you bought them. Now they're like $16, $18 a dozen,
Yeah.
but they will get the job done. Gold shiners.
But we caught a lot of good fish out of buckskin.
Yeah. That was in buckskin.
Yeah.
And yearling bass,
We turned it loose, people. We did. We went, got him out, weighed him up, and all that. And then Brent and Julie, who is our friends, they were up on the deck thing, and we let Brent put him back in. He just swam on off.
Oh,
Hit you
good.
again, buddy.
but we used to go over there at, what was the name of that lake? That last one we fished so much of. I can't remember the name of it, but
It
anyway,
was a campground, and they closed the
Yeah.
campground down.
we would, it seemed like every time you'd catch a fish, it'd be from 8 to 10
Yeah,
pounds.
them was the biggest fish I ever saw.
And,
They were in black water.
I don't know how many fish that we brought back, and we'd weigh them, then
Put them back in our lake.
we'd turn them loose in our lake.
Because that lake had the blackest water you ever saw. What'd they call that water?
Bracket.
Bracket water or
Bracket
something.
water.
But it was black water. But
Almost
when you
as black
throw,
as them britches right there.
when you throw that bush hog in there, you got a fish. I mean,
Like a bush hog on a tractor?
And the thing of it is,
the
the
bush, the worm bush hog that you fish with.
You
fish
know.
you
Rubber one.
caught, the fish you caught out of there, they would be black. I mean, they wouldn't be like fish that come out of a clear lake. They would be real tannic, brown looking.
Yeah,
And
it was a fun lake to
I
fish
mean,
in. Though.
it was like that all the way through their meat. When if you clean one of them, and but they eat good. But we never did eat no big fish. If one died on us, I would clean it.
Or he swallowed the hook.
Yeah, well, that's most of the time the way you lose them. I would clean them. But the big fish, we always turn back loose. I always liked them just about that long. To me, that's your best eating fish. And you could catch a ton of them like that. We call them yearling bass. And I've seen them schooling. And Lord, if you'd have had a shotgun and shot out through there, you'd thought you'd have killed half the lake.
What do you think? That's like 5 to 6 pounds?
Do what, huh?
Yearling,
How many pounds?
3 pounds.
3.
That one at yours?
No, yearling bass. How much are they weigh?
They don't get up very big, pound and a half, 2 pounds. I don't know. Toby might know. I don't know if they grow into big bass or not.
I think the males stay small. The little buck bass,
I
but
know
the bigger females get bigger.
I know they'll feed on one another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the bass will. If you got little bass, if they're feeding, they'll eat a little bass as quick as they'll eat a brim.
Mm-hmm.
I've fished with them before too. Be out of shiners. I use bass.
But your best lake in Florida, you go anywhere you want to. But Rodman Reservoir,
Across Florida barge.
well,
Down.
the Florida Barge Canal, where they was putting that up. That was about 20 minutes from where we live. But that's the best bass lake I've ever been on, and I've been on a bunch of them. But you do catch a few mudfish out there. Speckled perch, some of the biggest things you ever seen comes out of there. Tournaments for bass, largemouth. God, it seems like they have one every week. You don't want to go on the weekends.
Yeah.
You always want to do your fishing during the week. But that's a man-made lake, and it's just like that right there. They didn't cut the timber. They went in there and rerouted that river and built that dam over there at Rodman, and just left that timber in there. Well, all of it's rotted off now, top of the water, you know. And you got to be careful when you're running your boat out there because there's still a lot of stumps and stuff right at the top of the water. But it's Bass Haven.
It is.
You
can be up on the bank just about and catch them.
Yep.
I mean, catch them off the bank.
The biggest one we ever caught out there was 13.5. That's a big bass.
He caught that. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and if you'd have had that video, you'd have won the grand prize.
Because we were so crazy. It was just us two in the boat. He wanted me to lift it out after he got it up with the dip net. I tried. I couldn't pick it up. I mean, I tried. So I was laying on my belly on the boat floor with the little door open, trying to drag him in. It took forever. Then we were high-five one another because we finally got him in. It was hilarious.
How big was it?
13.5.
So who caught the biggest bass now?
Pardon?
Who's caught the biggest bass?
Oh, that's about the biggest we ever caught. I caught the biggest.
13.5.
But lots of them.
Who caught the most fish?
Me.
But anyway, it wasn't nobody but me and her on that boat.
We were funny.
The fish, I had him in clear water. Well, then he headed for the cattails. I knew I had to keep him out of them cattails. I told Lou, I said, you're going to have to get that dip net, and you're going to have to reach over the side of these rails and pick that fish up. And from the top of the rail down to the water was probably 3 foot on that pontoon. She couldn't do it.
I couldn't pick him up.
I opened the side door on the pontoon, and I said, if you can lay down there and get that dip net down there, I'll pull him around to that door. And we did. We finally got that fish. It took us 30 minutes to get that fish in.
It was funny.
And like I said, if it had been anybody out there, they'd have swore we was on drugs. We was dancing around on that boat, high-fiving one.
Nan, did you ever fish before you met Pop?
Not really. A little, maybe. Never caught any fish. The only time I started catching fish is when we moved to Buckskin. We lived on that little lake.
So you could probably say the best catch of your life was Pop, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be him.
How long y'all been caught?
60 years.
60
this
years.
Past May.
It's a pretty good catch, Pop.
A few days.
A few days.
I can tell you where every mole and every scar is.
Ooh. Let's go pick some persimmons.
Yeah, let's do it.
Did you fished a lot growing up
Yeah.
in
Oh,
Arkansas?
they did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we was raised on the San Francisco River there in Arkansas, but you know, back in, we fished, but it was more like, really, it was a job. I mean,
Food on the table.
and we hunted, and Daddy would tell us he would, just like in hunting season, he'd give me 3 shells, he'd give Bud 3 shells. He said, all right, boys, I either want 3 squirrels or 3 rabbits. You don't go out there and waste your shells. I mean, if it was really, it wasn't say, well, I'm just going to go fishing today and have a good time. But he wanted you to bring fish home. And we would go and put out trot lines and stuff like that. And in the spring of the year, we would fish with old cane poles and stuff like that. Never had a spinning reel or rod and reel in my life till I come to Florida in 1962. Didn't know what one was. Couldn't afford it.
What did you catch in the St. Francis? What kind?
Well, most of the time we caught catfish. Catfish and crappie, they call them. We call them specks. But catfish and crappie, and they would be in the bar ditches. You would catch the blues and the channels. But if you fished the rivers, you would catch them on mudcat and flatheads. And some people called them granny cat. And they would get up big. I mean, I've seen them up to 50 pounds. You know, big old flatheads. And, then in the spring of the year, all the kin folks from Tennessee, Mississippi, they would come down for a week, and all we did was fish because they wanted them to take back home with them, you know. And but when there was work to be done, you worked before you went fishing. Now we get the work done, we'll go fishing or whatever. But farm life wasn't no easy life back then.
Let's go pick.
You ready to
persimmons.
pick persimmons?
Yep.
Have you ever picked persimmons before?
Oh, I'll try. I ain't never even messed with them too much, but try to eat them sometimes. I just never craved a taste for them.
You don't like them?
I like
Well,
them.
I tell you, I can't say I don't like them. Maybe I just never acquired a taste.
Nan's gonna try to make some jelly and maybe a pie or something. See how it turns out.
It might be delicious.
Might be.
I did find it on Pinterest.
Yeah.
I found the pies and the jelly.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready if you are.
How are they?
Are we picking
That was
these?
perfect. Yeah. If they're hard, don't pick them. If they're hard, they'll be green.
Toby, what kind of persimmon trees are these? The American?
American persimmon.
They grow in the wild.
If you get one that's green, hard, not completely right, turn your mouth inside out.
Yeah.
What's that called?
Tannins.
Tannins. Whew. Makes you feel like your mouth is all fuzzy.
Real astringent, and it's like eating cotton. They start getting ripe in September and last through the winter as long as January. Here.
What kind of fruits did you pick?
Apples, peaches, plums, strawberries, blueberries, you name it. We were migrants. We followed the harvest every year. That's what we did for a living.
What state?
Well, we'd go all the way up to the peninsula in Michigan. And then, but we'd make our way up there from Florida, where we were at.
Where'd you stay when you went up there?
They'd have a place. The people that we worked for, they furnished you a place to live. You didn't have to pay rent or any of that.
What'd you do with the kids while you were picking all that?
Bring them with us. We would be picking apples. We'd just drive our car alongside the trees that we were picking on, and the kids would stay in the car if they wanted to take a nap. They were little, and if they wanted to get out and play, there wasn't nothing they could get into, so they'd get out and play. Just drive in the car. They had a car they'd get into if they got tired. We've done everything. Every state, just about. We was hard workers. This is about all over here.
That's probably all on this tree.
Yep.
So do you want to pick them when they're wrinkled?
Yes, because that's when they're ripe. But if you open them up like that, this is all meat. And these are seeds. So we cook them in a pot and strain the seeds and all out. And when you get done, you only got the meat that's you made the jelly out of. We're going to do this. This has got a lot of them.
There are better ones over here?
They are.
Oh, yeah.
And they're bigger. And you can look at them and tell which ones are.
Any of them good behind you?
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
These are a lot bigger than the other ones.
Yeah, they
Because
are.
some are still not ripe, but you know if there's a difference in the ones that are,
These are in the shade more often. Those are out there in the sun all day.
I mean, does it, like, taste-wise, does it make a difference, you think?
No, but
No, I don't think they would make a difference in the taste.
what you picking, Billy?
Something that just turned my mouth wrong side out.
Persimmons, they claim was the best wood to make driver clubs out of for golf, for drivers. You know, the ones that, something about the hardness of it.
It's harder wood.
Wow. Well, it looks like we've got,
Enough to
Quite
get
a
started
bit.
on.
I'd say,
I'll do that.